Hi, I'm Greg from RVHaulers, and I am excited to report that we have successfully hunted down the RV hauler named Sasquatch. While exploring the remote wilds of the Canadian province Saskatchewan, we located a 2013 youngster, juvenile Volvo that he came from Saskatchewan. He's been named Sasquatch, yes. He's been located, converted, singled, and Sasquatch has made the decision that he's going to be heading to Vegas. Let me give you a tour of what this RV hauler looks like today and some of the last tweaks and things we're going to need to do to him before we start heading south with this gorgeous white Sasquatch. Now, before we get up and close with this creature or RV hauler we've named Sasquatch, let me give you a little bit of background about what we've done. We start with Volvo tractors, highway tractors that look like this. They've got two axles in the back, and we convert them to a single rear axle as we've done with Sasquatch. What that lets us do is we can legally change the title of this truck to a motorhome. It allows us to drive it in most states and Canadian provinces with a standard driver's license. You don't have to have a commercial license. Some states and provinces will require that you take a one-day course to learn about the air brake system on these trucks. But because it's a motorhome, legally titled so, we don't have to stop at scales, we don't have to pay the expensive insurance for commercial vehicles, and we're able to drive it, as I said, with our normal class of driver's license. Now, let's get up and close and show you this RV hauler named Sasquatch. This 2013 Volvo is a model 780. It's the longest and tallest and most luxurious model that Volvo makes. It has 350,000 miles on it, and being a 2013, it's still well inside of its warranty period. And I'll show you what we've done to this RV hauler. There used to be two axles back here, and we have converted it to a single rear axle, pretty well right in between where those two axles used to be. The other kinds of work that we've done to it is we've rebuilt drive shafts and balanced those all throughout. We've done a number of mechanical and visual or aesthetic repairs to them, really detailed and brought up to snuff the interior, making them look as new as we can. And I'll take you even closer and show you some of the other features we've installed. The owners of this RV hauler have chosen not to put a bed on the back of the frame just as yet. Their plan is to pull their Teton fifth wheel trailer just with Sasquatch as is. So we've left those rear steps in place. You can see that we've converted the exhaust to what we call a weed burner, where the exhaust points down. Just temporarily, for looks, we've closed in the frame with some aluminum decking. At the rear, we've got new brakes. We've also installed some Michelin brand new tires. That is a mud and snow pattern. Until we put a deck on it, we chose to put some used fenders that I took off another truck, just to keep the rocks from coming up on the back of the sleeper and allow us to have some mud flaps nice and close to the ground to protect the Teton from any road rash that flies up. You can see we've got some new shocks, new airbags, and our favorite hitch manufactured in Florida called the ET hitch. This has the latest head style called a Super Binkley. That head itself is rated to 10,000 pounds, as are the airbags that protect the trailer. We've got all new wiring to the back. There's our 7-way plug. And one of the things that's remaining for me to work on is we do have air lines that are going to be ran to the back, because the Teton our customer has air over electric hydraulic brakes. So as I said, we haven't spent too much time fixing this frame up. It's ultimately going to be covered with a smart car bed at some time in the future, but right now it'll be ready to pull that large fifth wheel trailer. On the engine, we've done a few upgrades or some preventative maintenance work. We've done belts and hoses, quite a few lines. All the filters, fluids, and synthetic oil have been installed in the D13 engine that's on this truck. We have new steer tires on there. And this video is intended as a bit of an update for our customers. We've been working on this truck over the past few weeks, and we've got some aesthetic things we're going to be working on yet. Something we're going to look at doing is, you can see some of the chrome here got a little bit of road rash, and there is a crack in that fender. The owner, I think, went over a snowdrift or into a snowdrift and cracked it. So this lower chrome is something that we're going to recommend to our new owners. Gets replaced. We're going to be polishing the lenses and sanding and polishing the lower fog lights as well to give them a little bit more of a clear picture of the road. But the remainder of the chrome on this truck is in really nice shape. I'll take you inside next. From the ground, you'll see that Sasquatch, being a 2013, has the newer interior color. It's sort of an ivory and dark brown. You'll see the fabrics have a little bit of a pattern to them. We've installed our form-fitting minimizer floor mat. The rear of this Volvo 780 sleeper has what's called a workstation configuration. It's got a table and two benches, and that table folds down to make a lower bunk. Here behind the driver's seat, that's the refrigerator on the bottom, a couple of storage drawers, and an open cubby for your Keurig coffee pot or microwave. That upper bunk folds down to make an upper bed. And there, that aluminum is a ladder that folds down when the bed is in a lower position. There's one more cubby and a clothes cabinet down here with a curtain rod. Now, one thing I want to show the owners of Sasquatch is we were aware there was a considerable stain on the floor right here. They'd spilled what looks like a coffee. We have steam cleaned that over and over and over, and we've gotten it about as good as we can get it. There's still a very, very slight mark around the front edge. You can see it just here. But that's one of the blemishes in this truck. It's not new. I'll turn around and face forward next. Because Sasquatch is such a juvenile youngster, the dash and plastics and doors are in like new condition. Very, very nice. When we come across to the steering wheel, you'll see there aren't any marks or wear points, even on the buttons. It looks very, well, like new. One thing I will point out is here at the leather seat, the driver's seat, there are some wrinkles. So you can see that the leather stretched a bit over time. And one thing we can do is we can take it to our leather work folks here in Calgary, and they will restitch this. They'll take the seat off, restitch it, tighten it, and stretch those wrinkles in the driver's seat. If you look at the passenger seat, there's a very slight wrinkle there as well, but not nearly as noticeable. On the overhead, we have a really nice high-end digital display Cobra CB radio, and behind the driver's position there's an amplifier speaker. But up high, looking at the plastic condition, and overhead dash position. It's there's no marks, no issues. Now we have detailed this truck extensively. We've had someone in here for a total of 2 days, getting around all the little buttons, around every nook and cranny. So looking in here, all these buttons were removed and everything was cleaned inside. Vents have been removed, cleaned all the way down inside the vents as much as we can, and even around places like this, around each of the buttons. That's been detailed. It looks really nice in here. Our customers have never seen Sasquatch. They've only had a chance to view him via photos and a few videos. So the purpose of this video is to give the new owners in Vegas a chance to look at their RV hauler midway through his conversion. I have a number of things that we still have to do to Sasquatch to bring him up to our picky standards. What's remaining to be done with Sasquatch is primarily, I mentioned some fit and finish things, some of that chrome around the front of his bumper. We've got a bit more work to do on the brake controller system. I pointed out that the air lines that are coming to the back of the frame just need to receive their glad hands before that's complete. But a big part of what we pride ourselves in here at RVHaulers is not just converting one of these trucks to a single rear axle, but actually taking the time to hook up one of those large fifth wheels you can see over my shoulder and hitting the Rocky Mountains and putting these trucks through their paces. Sasquatch is going to get probably 12 to 15 hours of hard, heavy highway driving, towing a fifth wheel trailer, just to make sure that everything is perfect, or as perfect as we can make it. I've had the pleasure of driving probably hundreds of Volvo trucks, and I know how they should feel and sound, smell while you're driving them, especially while towing a 20-some thousand pound fifth wheel trailer. So we're going to be heading, we're just east of the Rocky Mountains here in the province of Alberta in Canada. We'll be hooking up trailers next and really putting Sasquatch through his paces. Put the foot to the floor, testing those brakes, making sure he rides just smooth as we can make him before we disconnect and ultimately bring this RV hauler right to our customers' doors in Las Vegas. So here's a bit of a, let's call it a boring alert. I'm going to be walking around and giving a very detailed tour of Sasquatch now, of things that I would call blemishes. I don't believe in showing things that are just perfect. I think it's better to always show things that are imperfect, so there's no surprises. Now, the frame, when it had, for instance, the shock support sitting right here, which has been relocated to this position. Well, by the way, you'll see, know how this shock support was lower on the frame? We have purchased longer shocks, a longer travel, to allow that to be in a higher position. The reason we brought it up is the hitch that you see here is mounted on angle iron. Let me tuck up underneath so you can see some of the line work we still have yet to do. But that angle iron that goes down into the frame here interfered with where we wanted to put this shock. So to make sure that, you know, we were able to remove that hitch easily, you didn't have to undo a whole bunch of things later when we do the bed, we remounted this and brought it up with a taller shock. As well, we have gone with some used fenders. There are some scratches in here, some marks. There's a little bit of duct tape that was stuck on there at one point in time. We'll clean that up. But it doesn't make sense to buy brand new fenders when ultimately they're just going to be taken off when a flat deck or a bed gets installed up here. You can see that the frame hasn't been sandblasted and painted. There's no need to do that. It's it's a new frame here. Yes, there's a little bit of surface rust on it, but it's nothing, it's not affecting safety or longevity or performance. So I don't believe at this time it's warranted to spend money blasting and painting that frame. Actually, I've got one sitting next door here. I'll show you what it would look like. So here's a frame. This is the RV hauler named Maverick. You can see that he's been sandblasted, and a commercial product, a commercial paint has been sprayed everywhere, both inside and outside the frame. But that's what it looks like if you choose to have the frame treated. Now back to Sasquatch. These rear steps would be removed if you put a bed on. So you can see that there is a little bolt holding a piece of chrome on there, but this step system will be removed, so it doesn't make sense to spend a bunch of labor addressing that. But as we look at the rest of the body and the paint condition, it's gorgeous. Hard to find any blemishes on this side of the truck. We've done some detailing, polishing, removing of fine scratches in the chrome and in the clear coat. And I know you really can't get a sense of it. You know, when you touch a truck or a vehicle that's been polished, you know how smooth it is? We've done that to every inch that we can on Sasquatch here. So I've already showed those bumper chrome pieces that have a few nicks in them. Those I think will get replaced with our customer's permission. We also have some somewhat hidden blemishes. Now the backs of these chrome mirrors aren't really chrome, they're plastic with a sticker, a chrome sticker over top. And sometimes if you get a bit of a rock that creates a chip, over time the wind is going to peel it back, and you can see that that's happened. But it is on the inside of the mirror. So maybe not something we need to deal with day one. And you can always do that in another phase of the build. You can take care of that yourself later on if you want. And that's what this customer has chosen to do. So for rock chips, just show you the condition of the paint. This is fewer than average that you see here. Looking over that mirror, you can see that there's a few more blemishes on that mirror. The driver's side of the truck will always get more chips and more oncoming rocks and sand over time than the passenger side, of course. And you'll see that here on this side of the truck. So we've got probably 20 little rock chips here that have been accumulating over time. But this side of the body is in great shape, and coming back to the final fairing, you'll see some really tiny ones, but not too many. Here at the back of the sleeper, there will often be rocks that will get picked up from the rear wheels and thrown against the back of the sleeper, and this truck is no exception. You can see those little marks are all rock chips. From the 350,000 miles of use, you'll always expect a few of those. Some other upgrades and additions we've done to Sasquatch is starting from the battery position underneath the driver's seat. You'll see we've added a 150 amp resettable fuse, a breaker. And what it allows us to do is control the power that goes to and is fed from this Xantrex inverter. So this is a charger inverter, 1800 watts. And what this does is if you have the shore power plugged in to that shore power plug, this is a very intelligent battery charger. There's 4 stages of charging, and what it will do is perfectly maintain the 4 12-volt batteries that you see here. Now our plan is we are going to be replacing these batteries. We've done some load testing on them, and they're not perfect. They are, well, they're about 3 years old, and a couple of them aren't quite like new. Now I'm not going to replace those until just before the delivery to Las Vegas. We want to make sure that we have full warranty and as much life as we can out of those. Also in what we call this jockey box, we have installed what's called a jackalope. The wiring that needs to be fed to these RV fifth wheels uses a different standard than normally the wiring that comes out of these trucks. The wiring that's on these trucks is wired to a commercial standard. It uses different signal and brake light wiring, and what this jackalope does is converts the commercial standard to the RV standard that we need to pull our smaller fifth wheels. Well, my name is Greg from RVHaulers, and thank you for watching our video about our RVHauler conversions. If you have any questions about what work we do, please explore our YouTube channel. If you like what you see, hey, give me a thumbs up or subscribe to our channel. And of course, our website is here on the screen. Thanks for watching.